call the meeting to order. I want to remind everybody that this is live streaming on YouTube. So please keep that in mind. Even as a reminder, also, even with your virtual Zoom meetings, workforce development boards are required to comply with public meetings law. Therefore, we have to be able to hear you and hear your vote to be in compliance with the law. So hopefully everybody is ready to go. And I'll do start out with a roll call. And when your name is called, just please say here. All right, here we go. Lynette Orbovich.
Here.
Brian Peterson. No Brian. Okay. Scott Reese.
Here.
Jennifer Schaefer.
Here.
Jeff Smith.
Here.
Garrison Wagner. No Garrison Wagner. Okay. Amber Westall Briggs. Debbie Woodard.
Here.
Okay. Lynette Bang. Kathy Barr.
Here.
Michael Berkmeyer.
Here.
Whitney Brasington. Okay. Tara Brosa.
Here.
Sherry Carpenter.
Here.
Jim Coleman. Okay. And Felicia Colbreth Setzer.
Here.
Jeff Dreyer, I'm here. Richard Gamble. Hayden Gibson. Stephanie Greer. Edward Henson.
Here.
Kristen Neubauer. No Kristen. Jason Nunn.
Here.
Okay. Did anybody else join? Could anybody else tell that Rebecca, I assume have you locked the meeting?
I have locked the meeting.
Okay, and we had no other joins during that roll call?
I have Lynette that was Lynette Bang that she was admitted, but I didn't hear her say here.
Lynette
So
Bang?
Lynette, if you could unmute yourself and tell us if you're here.
Is that Lynette? Lynette Bang.
Yeah, we hear you a little bit.
Okay, you're here. We'll mark you as here.
Yep, she's sent a group chat and said that she's talking. So
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. We'll go ahead and get started. Let's see. Next on the agenda is approval of July 2020 minutes. Is there any additions, corrections, deletions to the minutes? Hopefully you've all read them. And if anybody has anything to add to that, if not, I'll accept the motion to accept them as they were presented.
Lynette Orbovich moves to accept the minutes as presented.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second, this is Sherry.
Sherry seconds it. Any further discussion? Oops. All right. We'll call them approved. Thank you very much. Oh, and it looks like we have some new board member introductions here. Stephanie Greer, did I present you or did I mark you as present? Oh, I did not.
Here.
She is not here. She's our only new board member this time. Okay. All right. Well, hopefully we can get her sworn in next time and move right along. Next on the agenda is the executive committee report. Mr. Vice Chair Edward Henson, are you on the spot? Can you report on our executive committee meeting? Edward?
Yes, I am.
Oh.
Can you hear me? I don't have that report with me. I apologize for that.
Okay. That's all right. We did meet, it's been a few days ago. Keith, remind us of the agenda. Please.
Okay. On that agenda, we went through mainly the gist of it was we got the draft back from our financial monitoring report. We had one finding in the area of the financial monitor, Lynn Banks, noted that we did not follow policy as it related to redaction of personal information. However, we discussed that with her and we did follow the policy. What we got the finding on, and staff, you guys can help correct me if I miss anything, was that the supplemental information documents on some of the and by when I say supplemental, that was stuff that was not needed in the file that was in there, and staff missed redacting that. But in the required eligibility documents, there was the redaction done, but it was like out of maybe 5 files, there might have been 1 or 2 where it was information, supplemental information that was not redacted. We took issue with that, discussed it with her, and she said that, you know, their standard template when there is a finding of redaction is that the policy was not followed. Staff and our biggest bone of contention was that it was written as we are not following policy, when that is not true. We do follow the policies that we inject, but so that was the biggest thing. We wanted to make the executive committee and this board aware that we will have a finding on our monitoring report, but only one. There were some areas of observation and technical assistance that we also were not in total agreement on. So my staff and I, we are going to review that. We do have the right to request an appeal with Lynn Banks and her manager, Jennifer Jones. And I guess it would be somebody at DWS, either Mark Edmonds or whoever they deem as that designee. So we are considering that. However, for the final report, we will be responding to findings, observations, and other technical assistance. This financial monitoring report, in my eyes, was some things were very subjective and were very opinionated, and the High Country Workforce Development Board plans to be able to respond and present both sides of the story. I don't want just a one-sided story going out of what's going on, when we are going to have the right, and we will exercise that right, to let the you all, the board, the consortium members, and our chief elected official know the good stuff that our contractors are doing in the High Country area. So you all will get a copy of that report. We are going to respond to the final report, and you will see the sort of, I guess it is kind of a rebuttal, but it's presenting our story, because she's just looking at it as strictly numbers and through a narrow scope. And you're missing all the forests and the other trees and all the great stuff that goes on in our rural workforce board area. So that was the main crux of our executive committee report. Also, we talked about the NC Works Career Centers. There's the new sign and logo that's going up. That was sent out. Thank you, Rebecca, for sending those pictures out in your board packet. So those were the new signs that are going up on our career centers throughout the High Country. Also, we discussed the sort of the bane of our existence and our albatross around our neck, with us not being able to move into opening our centers due to Governor Cooper's executive order that says that we are in phase 2.5. What that means is that as long as we do not reach phase 3, DWS state employees are not allowed to interact and work with the public until phase 3. Therefore, with us being a small rural workforce board, we do not have enough contracted staff to go it alone like some of my other workforce counterparts across the state. So that is why it's different from what we had envisioned. We are providing workforce and WIA services remotely and virtually, and all NC Works Career Center staff return to the career centers on the 31st of August, and they have been working in the career centers. Our career centers are closed to the public. However, services are being provided remotely and virtually. And you'll get to hear a lot of good stuff from our two NC Works operators later on, Charity Patterson-Hamber and Pam Wilson. They are going to tell you what their staff's been doing and provide you some data and information of how they've been doing that using virtual services and the AWS call center system. So those were the big highlights of our executive committee. Rebecca, Linda, Misty, did I miss anything on that?
I agree with that. Well, sorry, Keith.
That's fine. Edward, you agree with that rendition of the report?
Absolutely, and I apologize for not having that. Thank you for bailing me out there. That's exactly what I would have said. That's how I would have reported it, verbatim.
One other thing I wanted to add was the incumbent worker grant. The executive committee serves as the approval committee for our incumbent worker grant applications, and they approved an application for GE for a rapid improvement event, value stream analysis, training, and coaching. So they will receive $10,000, a $10,000 grant for that, and it's a reimbursement process.
Fantastic. Thank you all for that report. And Edward, we know you would have hit it dead on. So, all right, we'll move right along. Are there any questions about the executive committee report from anyone? Okay, hearing none, we will move along to our comprehensive economic development strategy. Phil True, our planning director for the High Country Council of Governments. You're going to let us through.
Thank you all for the time. Want to talk with you. Most of this board is new. I think there's 5 of you that were here 5 years ago when we did the last CEDS, or Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy. So for the rest of you, it'll be a new concept. Trying to figure out how to explain it best. I think I'll go through the what, why, who, how, where, and when process. So for the what, the CEDS, again, is an acronym for Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy. It's a strategy for our 7-county region to promote economic development. You were given a copy of the one that was produced in 2016 in your agenda packets. Based on that document, this year I plan to follow pretty much the same formula. The contents will include a lot of socioeconomic development or socioeconomic data from the region, regional overview, which is basically the highlights of the economy for the region, a SWOT analysis, which is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, goals for the economy, and recommendations. Recommendations really the meat of the document, broken down into the following economic development building blocks: workforce, physical infrastructure, tourism, industry, small business and entrepreneurship, and agriculture. Within the plan, or the CEDS, each section contains a brief overview of how things work, what's currently underway within each of those economic building blocks, and a list of recommended strategies. The document also will contain a section on priorities and a section on resiliency. So that's the what. The why we do this. High Country Council of Governments receives $70,000 per year from the U.S. Department of Commerce's Economic Development Administration. As part of that grant agreement with the EDA for the COG to receive those funds, we've got to develop a SEDS at least every 5 years and do a report on it every year. The other big reason that we do this is because having a project identified in the SEDS establishes eligibility to that project for funding from EDA. So if a local government wants to apply for funds from EDA to run a water and sewer line to a new business, first thing EDA is going to do is make sure that project is identified in a SEDS. So it's kind of a benchmark to establish eligibility for that EDA funding. We also use and reference the SEDS in other grant applications besides EDA. So the bulk of our department, the Planning and Development Department that I oversee in the COG, the bulk of our work is direct technical assistance to the towns and counties. And a lot of what they ask us to do is help them find grant funds. So in a lot of those grant applications we develop, we're referencing projects that identified in this SEDS. Why we're doing it now, I already hit on that. We have to do it every 5 years per EDA requirements. So that's the what, the why, the who. We developed a plan in-house. I've got a staff of 6, including myself. I'll be the primary author of the document. We involve a lot of stakeholders in the development of the SEDS process. I'll touch on that a little more detail in a minute. But y'all's role, EDA requires that a SEDS be developed with the oversight of a SEDS committee. Probably 12 years ago, EDA required that the SEDS committee be comprised primarily of private sector representatives. So we got the High Country Workforce Development Board to serve as the SEDS committee at that time, because y'all were already established, already working together, and met that 51% private sector requirement. EDA has since gotten rid of that requirement, but we liked the process and liked y'all's involvement. So the past 2 iterations of the SEDS, we've continued, and y'all have agreed to have the High Country Workforce Development Board serve as the SEDS committee. SEDS committee is just advisory in nature. The High Country COG Executive Board is the governing board that officially adopts the SEDS, but we look for a recommendation from the Workforce Development Board to bring before the Executive Board. So how we develop the document, do a lot of research and gathering of data. Then we have what we did last year and or 5 years ago, and what I plan to do this year. Very similar process. Hold one meeting in each of our 7 counties with the stakeholders. Those stakeholders include town and county managers, Economic Development Commission directors, Chamber of Commerce directors, TDA directors, community college presidents, ASU representatives, community action groups that are active in our region, CDFIs, which are community development financial institutions, North Carolina cooperative extension agents, bankers, major employers, and I also invite the 2 Workforce Development Board members from each of the respective counties to those county level meetings. In those county level meetings, we focus on that individual county, but try to get input from the attendees on strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And then most importantly, identify the recommendations and the priorities in those counties. If stakeholders can't make it to those meetings, I track them down via email or phone call to gather their input. After we've had those 7 county meetings and gotten input from the 7 county stakeholders, we draft the document and then bring it before this board, Workforce Development Board, for consideration. It covers our 7-county region. Last question is the when. I'd like to bring it back before you all, I guess in May of 2020. Do you meet every other month?
Yes.
So May would be perfect timing for me. Gives us 8 months to do it. And then I would take it to the High Country College Executive Board for approval, either June or July. This year, there'll be an expanded resiliency section. EDA has asked for all the SEDs to really bump up their resiliency strategies based on the COVID-19 pandemic. I see that resiliency section including a lot of strategies on how to deal with a expanding homelessness population, or better yet, how to prevent that, and increased and steady unemployment. So I'll stop there and see if y'all have any questions about the document or the process or who's involved.
Does anyone have anything for Philip? It's an absolutely comprehensive plan. It's a 30-page document. I will admit I didn't read line for line, but I did go through that entire document. And it's very worthwhile. And I think this board it fits perfectly for our mission as well.
Great.
And I think you meant to say May of 2021, since 20's already passed. But
Yeah, I wish I could go back in time, but that didn't work. Thanks.
So yeah. Keith, do we need a vote on this for the record?
I don't think it requires action. Rebecca, correct me if I'm wrong. Phil, does this require action from this board, or is a verbal agreement that will be the advisory board for you? Does that need official action or a vote?
I don't need any, but just some consensus from you all that you're willing to serve as the SEDS committee and review the document when I have it prepared in May of 2021.
Perfect.
And back in 2015, we just did sort of a motion to serve as, or to continue to serve as the strategy committee. So it was just sort of a general.
Okay.
Let's go that route again, Mr. Chairman. If we could get a motion for the High Country Workforce Development Board to serve as the advisory committee for the SEDS report. So we'll have it in our records.
Perfect. So do we have a motion?
This is Mike Burkmeyer. I make a motion that we serve as the committee as requested.
Thank you, Mike. Mike has, go ahead.
This is Edward. I will second.
Edward Henson seconds. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Let me ask for anyone opposed. How's that? I hear no opposition, so therefore we'll consider this carried, and we will be your advisory committee.
Thank you very much. Got one more thing I'll note. 5 years ago, when I held the county level meetings, I invited the 2 private sector representatives from this board from each of the respective counties. So I'll just throw it out there. If any of the public sector representatives want to be informed of those meeting dates or be included, just let me know. Keith or Rebecca can put you in touch with me.
All right. Well, thank you, Philip.
Thank you all.
Mm-hmm. Okay, next on the agenda is the director's report. Keith.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and it's good to see all my High Country Workforce Development Board members here today, and staff and partners. It's always a pleasure to come before you. My director's report, I will try and be brief, starting out with the unemployment rates. And in our 7-county area, all 7 counties got the unemployment rate increased for the month of July. So the unemployment rate as it stands per July was Allegheny had an unemployment rate of 7.1%. Ashe County had an unemployment rate of 7%. Avery County had an unemployment rate of 6.7%. Mitchell County had an unemployment rate of 8.8%. Watauga County had an unemployment rate of 6.6%. And Wilkes County had an unemployment rate of 7.5%. Yancey County had an unemployment rate of 7.7%. And for our high country region, the unemployment rate, which was an increase, was 7.2%. While the state of North Carolina's unemployment rate was 8.9%, which was also an increase. And the United States unemployment rate as of July was 10.5%, which was a decrease. We've discussed the financial monitoring report. I reported out in the executive committee, so that I was going to cover that. So what all I said for the executive report, that portion maintains for my director's report. I won't go back over that. I think we've covered that. Also, wanted to let you know that the High Country NC Works Career Centers in the High Country region are going to be operating during phase 2.5 of Governor Cooper's orders. We will be operating remotely, providing services remotely and virtually, but staff will be in the NC Works Career Centers. They are going to be rotating days, so they will be staff in the Career Center sometime, and then the staff that are not in the Career Center, they will be at home teleworking, providing services using the AWS call center system. And you'll hear more about that from the local level when my two NC Works operators report for their local areas. Next, I'm going to call on my NC Works operator, Pam Wilson, who covers Avery, Mitchell, and Yancey counties. Pam, at this time, if you would give us an update on your region and how services are being provided remotely and virtually. I'm going to make my report look good and have my local experts as part of my report. So at this portion, I am calling on Pam Wilson to provide an update.
Good afternoon, everyone. I certainly hope each and every one of you are doing well, and I appreciate you giving me a few minutes to talk about our counties and what we have going on and what's been a challenging and difficult time. But it's also allowed us to bring a lot of creativity to the table and think of a lot of new ways that I feel like that going forward, we will continue to operate with some of those methods. I'll start by just giving you a breakdown of what kind of numbers we've been seeing since all this began in March. And like Keith said, we have been working remotely and virtually, basically by phone, by Facebook contacts, social media contacts, and email has been the largest ways that people have gotten in touch with us. But since mid-March, we have taken 3,457 calls, emails, and social media posts that we have provided services to customers for. Those first few months, about 90% of those were unemployment related and assisting people on, getting where they need to be to do that. Since that time, since about May, that started to drop off quite a bit, and it's been overall about 70% unemployment related, about 15% unemployers, 10% job seekers, and then the remainder of those percentages being other services and working with our WIOA clients on training. We've also, since this time, had 2 outside job fairs. at our Yancey NC Works office. We had our local prison system that has been in desperate need of employees, and just in brainstorming with them on how could we do this at this time, we came up with the idea of setting up outside and having people just drive in for like a drive-in job fair. So that's been a pretty good, neat idea that we did. We've also set up 2 employers with virtual online job fairs, and that's been primarily helping them figure out even how to do those, because they need a way to recruit right now where they don't have that contact going on. But a lot of our small businesses have never done that, you know, and are not necessarily technologically savvy. So we've been able to do that. Let's see, what else did I want to share with you? I did want to tell you that yesterday I had the opportunity to speak with one of our Yancey County commissioners, and she was telling me they had just had an EDC meeting, and we're looking at some statistics throughout at least Yancey County, and that to date, we have not lost any of our businesses during this time, which I thought was outstanding news. And not only have we not lost businesses, at this point, they are seeing their businesses start to grow back at a rate even greater than what they were seeing before the pandemic. So just in the last month, their business has been picking up a lot. I think that's really encouraging. I can't wait to get that same feedback from our other counties and see that that's happening. So, and the only other thing I had is now we're looking at marketing in a different way as far as our contracted services, providing training for folks. Typically what we would be doing would be going to schools, going into classes, talking to students. Of course, right now, we can't use that marketing strategy. So we've been working a lot on how to do that. We've been remoting in with students and giving presentations on our services. And we actually have seen a lot of new training related enrollments coming up, because we've still got a lot of folks that are out of work, and they're going to take this time to go back and upgrade their skills some, as well as about 4 OJTs that we've started in the last month. So are there any questions? Anything else you would like to know?
Okay, thank you, Pam. And as always, we appreciate you and your staff, and Dr. Boyd and Rita and the folks at Malin. So thank you for that information. Next up, I would like you to hear from Charity Patterson-Hamber. She is the NC Works operator, and she covers the region of Wilkes, Ashe, Allegheny, and Watauga. Charity, the floor is yours.
Great. Good afternoon. So quite a bit has happened since we last met. I am so glad to be able to see you all today and join you for this meeting. Again, my name is Charity Patterson-Hamber, and happy to give you an update on what's going on. Of course, you know, the NC Works Career Centers closed to the public in March, and it's still to be determined when. Hopefully in October, we will be opening and back into phase 3 and open to the public. Since the closure in March, our staff has been working in a full-time capacity. Half of the staff worked for the North Carolina Division of Unemployment Security, helping to process unemployment claims, while the other half offered virtual services in the NC Works Career Centers. So all work has been done virtually. At this time, as Keith said, we have staff back in the office. Thank goodness we are getting back to some type of normalcy. And we are doing a staggered schedule. Though we are not open to the public, we are offering services such as veteran services, reentry services, Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act services, and reemployment services. So if you know anyone that could benefit from these services, these programs, please have them call the NC Works Career Centers in their area. We also offer a variety of other services, such as career planning and coaching, resume review and development, job preparation workshops, skills assessments, labor market information, and customized youth and adult services. Since the centers closed in March, the 4-county area has taken around 11,479 calls collectively. This breaks down to about 1,514 for Watauga County, 6,797 for Wilkes County, and 3,168 for Ashe and Allegheny combined. And as Pam said, those calls have been a variation of unemployment questions, NC work services, reemployment services, and WIOA services. Keith has already given you the breakdown of the unemployment numbers. And although we have gone up slightly since June, we are way down from the 11 and the 10% that we were seeing in May. So we're making a little bit of progress there. Going forward, we are looking to do some virtual workshops and partner meetings. So some of you may be hearing from me in the near future to participate in those partner meetings in the Ashe and Watauga areas. So we're looking to open up some partner meetings there and some hire meetings, and hire stands for helping individuals regain employment. We're looking to implement those very soon. Another thing that we are excited about, we have a new partner now. So I know that you probably see her name on here. Our regional person for our new partner, Goodwill, is Jessica Greer. So we are excited to have her on board. There she is. We are very excited to have her on board, and we're just looking for some great things going forward. That's all for me.
Okay, thank you, Charity. Any questions for Charity from the board? Okay, thank you, Charity. As you can tell, that's why I wanted to incorporate both of those ladies, because wow, they just enhanced my director's report so much. I know you've heard me say and refer to Rebecca, Misty, and Linda as my angels, and I'm Charlie. Well, I'm gaining 2 more angels in Charity and Jessica. So they're really going to keep me straight, and they're going to do great things for the board. So DC Comics has Wonder Woman, and I have Wonder Women. So they are all strong, competent, and intelligent women in their own right, and I could not run the region without them. Next, as you know, we're building a team. We, at the end of September, our new WIA provider will be Goodwill Industries of the Northwest. Until the end of September, ResCare is providing those WIA services. So with ResCare transitioning out, and we're ushering in a new phenomenal partnership, we're going to build a team, and we're not going to build the Justice League or the Avengers, but the team that we are going to build is going to be a new class of High Country NC Works workforce superheroes. And within that team that we are building, those superheroes in the NC Works Career Center will be Jessica Greer, who is hired as the NC Works Regional Manager for High Country, Goodwill Industries of the Northwest. As Charity's introduced her, Jessica, would you like to say anything to the board? She is very acclaimed and accomplished. She's joining from Colorado, where she worked with Goodwill. She has a vast knowledge of programming, and we are excited to have her. Jessica, I didn't tell you this morning when I was by the center, but yeah, I would like for you to have some time to introduce yourself and speak to the board.
Cool. Well, thank you all for the very nice introductions. I'm very excited to be joining the team up here, and I know we're going to do a lot of really great things up in High Country, and I'm excited for October and to get started and work with all of you in the board.
Thank you, Jessica. And I want to say a special thank you for Sherry and Sheila for bringing Jessica our way, and Dion. She is first top rate, top notch, and she is going to do great things in our area. So thank you guys for pointing her our way and for sharing her with us and for identifying such a high caliber workforce professional. But the team doesn't stop there. We're going on and we're building our superhero team. I want to announce that Laura Patrick, who had served as a employment specialist with the Division of Workforce Solutions and worked in the Boone office, she is going to be the new WIOA project manager. So she is coming over to us from DWS. We are excited that she will be joining us. Her last day is the 25th, and then she will start October 1 with us when Goodwill starts their contract with us. And then we were fortunate enough that our superhero team just keeps on getting better. In addition to the rock stars and the superheroes that we already have in all of our NC work centers, Mary Jolly, Alan Osborne, and Olivia Culfer, who were rest care employees that had done a great job, they are going to transition over and be join the Goodwill team. So we are going to have that continuity of moving those great workforce professionals over to the new contract. And that is huge because so often you lose your existing workforce and they have established the working relationship with our customers, our participants. So we were gratefully that we were able to keep them with us and move them over to the new contract of effective October 1. So that is huge. It has saved a lot of headache and probably loss of hair and graying of hair because they are seasoned workforce professionals. They know our policies. They've worked with Misty and Rebecca and Linda. So we're not going to be starting from ground zero. We're going to be able to hit the ground running and continue the great workforce that we have. Also, I want to let you know that our Career Center partner, Division of Workforce Solutions, that they have 2 vacancies in the Boone Center. We have been in the spirit of partnership sitting in on those interviews, and I must say I was shocked, and Charity can attest to this, that the applicant pool last Friday, we had an outstanding qualified applicant pool, probably one of the most qualified that I've sat in on the interview, that really made our decisions hard to select because all of them were top-notch, phenomenal candidates. So that made our selection and recommendation process hard. But we are also going to add on 2 great superhero workforce professionals in the Boone Center. So wanted to let you guys know that things are going great. We're going to continue to achieve greatness and success. And in the words of Dr. Seuss, will we succeed? Yes, we will. 99.99% indeed. With the workforce and the staff that we have, I am expecting and great things for the future. And the places we'll go. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my director's report.
Thank you, Keith. Wow. Dr. Seuss, rock and roll, comic books. I love it. That's great. Thank you all. And I echo your comments as well. We have great centers out there. And I couldn't be prouder to serve on this board. And I hope everybody else feels the same way. So moving right along, we'll go into board and member announcements. Does anyone have anything? Any board members have anything that they want to add or contribute?
Yes, this is Felicia. I just wanted to add to what Keith said when he talked about the unemployment rate. I wanted to give you all some statistical data. when we look at claims being filed in the high country, we had, as of August 22nd, 2020, we had 13,031 claims that were filed in the high country area, and 6,064 of those were COVID related. So I wanted to kind of give you that concept so you would understand where we were. I was glad to hear Pam say that we hadn't lost any businesses, but that filing of unemployment, that's a large amount, and not even half of them are COVID. So that just tells you where we are in the high country. I understand your rates went up. So that just gives us, as far as the career centers, that gives us our mission as to what we need to be doing as we provide virtual services. So just wanted to give you some data to kind of enhance the information that Keith had provided for unemployment. Thank you.
Thank you, Felicia. Anyone else? All right. We'll move along to item number 9 on the agenda, public comment. Is there any public comment? I don't think we had anybody in advance. Rebecca, okay. All right. Does anybody have anything else any other business to be brought before the board? Okay, well, hearing none, our next High Country Workforce Development Board meeting will be another Zoom meeting. Hopefully I'll get in through this technology on time. November 12th, 2020 at 2:30 p.m. via Zoom. So I do hope everybody stays safe. Hopefully these numbers will continue to come down as far as unemployment levels, and our businesses will find a new normal, and we'll all succeed and prosper. Thank you all for your involvement. Thank you all for your involvement on this board. And we will be talking to you. We will stand adjourned.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Take care.
Jeff. See you all next time.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Thank you.